have seen the torch of freedom pass from hand to yearning hand, and the vision of our fathers spread hope throughout this land, as the dream some fought and died for in my heart becomes my own. I will strive to keep her promise, America, my home. America, America, may God bless America, and freedom reign across America, my home. From the shorelines to the prairies, to the cities great and small, we have reaped the fruits of justice and liberty for all.
So with deep appreciation for the blessings of freedom that we know in this wonderful country of ours, I'm Dr. George Simon, welcoming you to another edition of Character Matters. This is the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we face and that affects so many aspects of our lives. And if you want to join the conversation, we are live today, August 21st. We are live today for the first time in a while, sorry to say. And we can take your calls at 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296. If you have something you want to ask, if you have a story you'd like to share, just maybe want to have a discussion about some of the events of our time that are character related. Maybe you have a question about something in one of my books. In any case, whatever is on your mind, we're happy to take your call at 718-717-8296. Well, I haven't had a chance to say very much since the appearance on the Lawrence O'Donnell show on MSNBC. I was vacationing at the time, actually. I was actually in Seattle. At the time, I was vacationing with many of my family members on beautiful Victoria, on beautiful Vancouver Island in the city of Victoria in British Columbia, and then also in Seattle. And boy, the weather was just absolutely perfect, just beautiful, as it tends to be that time of year. And I had a wonderful time. And then I got the call from the producer of Lawrence O'Donnell's show, because they were looking for my opinion about his sanity. And you know, at the time, there was a lot of talk. Even the president chimed in about Mr. Trump's grandiosity and ego maybe crossing the line. They thought some of the things that he was doing were so outrageous that he might, in fact, be delusional. And, you know, this is really carrying things to an extreme, but there is a fine line sometimes. Sometimes there is a fine line between the grandiosity that is just part and parcel of the egomaniacal or egotistical character, the narcissistic character. And, I've been doing a lot of training about this in my workshops. And I've been making the point, I was misquoted in a Vanity Fair article about this topic, was misquoted as saying that Mr. Trump had a narcissistic personality disorder. Well, as I've said many times, by definition, this is a hard case to make because our definitions have traditionally centered around how intense, how inflexible, and how out of bounds, given the norms of the culture, someone's personality style is. In other words, if someone's very manner of relating to other people, that's what defines their personality. And of course, the moral aspects of that define their character. But if somebody's way of dealing with life is so extreme and so inflexible and so deviant from cultural norms, then we can consider it a disorder by definition. So when the producers contacted me, I was prepared to say exactly what I really said in my Vanity Fair article, and that is, you can't really make the case without a lot more data that Mr. Trump has a personality disorder per se. You may take issue with his personality, and you may very well point out the narcissistic aspects of his personality. And you may, in fact, see him as primarily a full-blown narcissist. But it takes much more than that to put this label on. So that's what I said in the Vanity Fair article, and that's what I was prepared to say again on the O'Donnell show. I actually debated for about 4 hours whether or not to do the program. The producer had contacted me fairly late in the morning. It was maybe 10 or 11 o'clock Seattle time. And I didn't really decide for sure to do the program until about maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Seattle time. And I made it clear that I was going to keep the discussion at a fairly high level because it was pretty sensationalistic what was going on in the media that week, and some folks were having a field day, basically trying to imply that the Donald had lost his mind. And I think they wanted somebody with professional credentials to chime in on that, or maybe pile on. And I wasn't going to do that. And I knew that if I didn't do that, the likelihood was that these folks wouldn't have me back on the program, and that's just the way it goes. The media, that's another character-related issue. The media has turned into such a sensation-oriented enterprise. They no longer serve the noble purpose that news organizations in a free society have historically served, and that is a relentless, objective pursuit of facts, of the truth. of the realities that should concern our citizens. They're the ones that are supposed to keep everybody else honest. Because, especially in politics, everybody's got a yarn to spin. Everybody's got a story to tell. And everybody has their own perspective to advance. And they know how to carefully package the information they want to give. That's the very definition of spin. They have to put their slant on it. Well, news folks are supposed to cut through all that. They're supposed to cut through all the BS, as it were, and get to the real facts without bias and expose the truth. Well, that rarely happens anymore. As a matter of fact, you have to tune into several sources if you want anything even resembling the truth, because each outlet has their slant. And, of course, Fox News has their very conservative bias, and MSNBC has their very solidly liberal bias, and all the other outlets have a slightly left-of-center bias. So it's really, really hard to get an objective picture of what's going on. And it's also really hard to get the truth. It's a sad, sad, sad statement. So I have to be very careful these days. And even as careful as I am, you can still get misquoted. With the Vanity Fair article, I was supposed to get confirmation of the conversation via transcript so I could peruse it before the article came out. Got none of that. So I'll be very careful before doing another interview with them. I got a lot of play out of it, a lot of publicity. But you've got to be very careful these days. Everybody has an agenda. Sometimes those agendas are hidden. It's a sad statement, but that's the way it is. So at any rate, I went on the program and I tried to keep it highbrow, and I tried to explain that people develop these styles of relating to the world, these attitudes toward the world, these ways of thinking about things and these ways of dealing with things that define their personality and character because it appears to work for them. And when it appears to work for them, they get an awful lot of reinforcement and they don't see any reason to change. And the only time they really see a reason to change is if things aren't working anymore. I mean, seriously not working. Unfortunately, as is the case with folks with narcissistic tendencies, when things aren't working, they tend to be very much in denial about their role in making things not work, and they tend to blame everybody else. And because of that, they are not of a mind to take a serious look at themselves and modify their approach. That's just the way it is. So, at any rate, it was still of a kind of interesting experience, and I hope that if anyone out there in the listening audience caught the clip, that they found the information that I gave helpful, and I think you can go to the MSNBC website and look up the day, the program in the archives, and I don't think you can download the program. I think the way the site works to protect their intellectual property to protect their ownership and their license on their product. I think you can't easily download the episode. You have to get it via streaming. And I think what folks do if they post things on like YouTube and stuff like that, I think they basically are pirating this information by using their own video recorders to record the thing. I don't think you can download the file. So I don't think you'll find it on YouTube. You might be able to. And so I won't be posting it on my blog anytime soon, probably, unless I get permission of MSNBC to do so, or unless there is a post on YouTube that clears the privacy censor and it appears safe to upload it to the blog. But in any case, I'm back now. I'm still doing a lot of traveling, doing a lot of workshops. Going to be going next Tuesday. I'll be leaving in just a couple of days back to the Chicago area and to the Wisconsin area. Be in Madison, Wisconsin on Wednesday, giving a training workshop. And then wrapping up in the Bloomington area of Illinois. So we got plenty of trainings this year still to go. And as I've mentioned several times, these are meant for professionals, but they are okay to be attended by laypersons. You have to pay, unfortunately, kind of a premium price to attend because these workshops are designed for professionals and they get professional credits. But all are welcome. So I'll be in Madison August 24th. That's Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. And then in Naperville, Illinois, on August 25th, that Thursday. And then on Friday in Bloomington, Illinois, on Friday, August 26th, with my next round of workshops. And all of you are welcome if you want to attend. And I also invite you to mosey on over to the blog at manipulative-people.com, and you can check out my schedule of workshop appearances. You can check out my calendar by going to that page on the website, and you can also follow the links to the cross-country education site where all that information is reported in detail. And I also invite you to check out my books, In Sheep's Clothing, Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People, the international bestseller and go-to book on manipulation, and also my book, Character Disturbance, The Phenomenon of Our Age. Really the most user-friendly, I think, comprehensive study of all the disturbed characters you're likely to meet out there, the kinds of difficulties you're likely to encounter with them, how to best empower yourself, and most especially what to look for in the way of getting the appropriate help when you go seeking it for dealing with someone like that. And then my book, The Judas Syndrome, for the Christian faith community. And lastly, my book, How Did We End Up Here?, with my co-author, Dr. Kathy Armistead. How Did We End Up Here is my new bestseller dealing with toxic relationships and how relationship partners got into the predicament that they did, how this person that they once thought hung the moon turned out to be somebody else, and how to pick up the pieces and move on, and then also how to ensure that such things don't happen again, by really learning how to be a better judge of character, and also how to judge when someone really has the right stuff. Really means well is not just talking a good line, but really has what it takes, the kind of character that it takes to make a relationship work. How to know what's real and what's not. How to tell phony baloney, basically, from the real stuff. So I invite you to check out those books, In Sheep's Clothing, Character Disturbance, The Judas Syndrome, and How Did We End Up Here? And then to look for, in a matter of weeks, hopefully, my next book, again with my co-author, Dr. Kathy Armstead, called The 10 Commandments of Character, which I've been writing about, giving some previews on my blog at manipulative-people.com. And I really can't wait for this book to be out. It's the book I've long wanted to write, and the book that many folks have written me asking me to write, because I introduced this concept of the 10 essential life lessons that people have to learn. I call them the 10 Commandments of Character. The 10 essential life lessons that people have to learn in order to have the kind of character that will enable them to live responsibly and also conduct themselves in relationships so that people are not unnecessarily injured, and so that relationships hold together, that marriages hold together, that families hold together. And so that people behave responsibly in life in general, and help build a sound community, and therefore a strong country. So look for that book at the end of the summer. I'm praying that it will be not too long from now, maybe a month from now, it'll be ready, and I'll have some announcements for you. But also, mosey on over to the manipulative-people.com blog and check out some of the articles that I've been writing, previewing the topics. And lately I have been writing on the commandment having to do with getting control of oneself. I call it being master of one's appetites and aversions. There are these things that tempt us. There are these things that invite us to do certain things that are not good for us, that attract us, even though they're not good for us. So we're tempted to do them, even though there's always some negative fallout from it. And then there are some things that we really should do that we shy away from, that we have aversions to, that we back away from, because of our either selfishness or because of the lack of character development that we have. Maybe we have insufficient motivation, maybe insufficient drive, insufficient pangs of conscience propelling us to do certain things that we really need to do in order to make this place a better place. And so forming good character is all about becoming master of one's likes and dislikes, one's appetites and aversions, not being led through life by one's appetites and aversions, not being governed by them, but rather being self-directed in a healthy way, having discipline, having self-control. And, that commandment is really a critical one, because we are largely a culture in which self-restraint of any kind is not really championed. In the article that I wrote this past Friday and posted on my manipulative-people.com blog, I talked about our culture being a gluttonous culture. And not just about food. Gluttony has always been seen as one of the deadly sins within the Christian faith. And it usually has to do with food appetite, unrestrained appetite. But there are prices to pay for not just overeating. It's not just that we eat too much, but our appetites are out of control for other reasons. One of the biggest reasons is that our food supply is so chock full of simple starches and salts. And these are the things that we find irresistible. And they're in all of our processed foods. And in these processed foods, not only are there generally too much sodium, but also too much simple starch and additives that add sweetness and have extraordinary high caloric content and add no nutritional value. The big thing being high fructose corn syrup, which is just about everything. It's just amazing how many things that it's in. And it's also, unfortunately, true how much damage this stuff does. We're not only an obese nation, we not only have a high percentage of even our young people overweight, but there are secondary costs to that. Type 2 diabetes is an epidemic in our country, and it is strictly related to bad dietary habits, as opposed to type 1 diabetes that has its roots in some constitutional variables, even genetic variables, that a person really doesn't have much control over. But when it comes to type 2 diabetes, we can really do a lot to prevent that. And the associated features of that, the secondary effects of having type 2 diabetes, you can get medicine to control the effects of it, but it still does damage. And over time, great damage. And so there's a big cost, a huge cost, not just a human cost, but a financial cost within the healthcare industry. And all of this is preventable. But we're a gluttonous culture. Unfortunately, we're living in the gluttonous age. I know, I actually, because I enjoy, it's therapy for me. I really enjoy the creative enterprise of cooking. Always have. And so I actually enjoy watching sometimes on TV the either the Food Network or the Food TV channel, or some of the programs that are on the Travel Channel that are food related. I get ideas from these things. But to simply glorify chowing down and to glorify these things that admittedly look like you could binge on them, and that they would really titillate your taste buds. There's a program called Carnival Eats where they go to these various carnival sites and see this food that is just outrageous with tremendous calorie content. I was looking at one program where they were featuring hamburgers that were served inside a donut, a glazed donut, substituting for the traditional bun. Now, a white bun is bad enough, folks. These white buns with refined and bleached flour with very little nutrient and just a lot of calories and a lot of additives, that's bad enough. But a raised donut sliced in half, glazed with sugar, and then this one place, instead of just grilling that, they grilled it in butter. So you've got this grease burger, cheese on it, bacon on it, and then the donut for a bun, and that's grilled in butter, and then slapped with mayo or whatever. And my goodness, by the time that you're done, you've got yourself something that you're going to put in your mouth that's about 900 calories, maybe close to 1,000 calories. And the bad part about that is not just the caloric content, but it's the nutritional content. And these kinds of things leave you hungry even after you've stuffed yourself, which is why we keep eating. And most of the time, when somebody has an item like that, like I just mentioned, it comes with other things, like an oversized mound of French fries, which adds another 400 or 500 calories, and then a soft drink, which adds another 150 to 200 calories. And before long, you have in one meal what you probably need for the entire day. And it goes straight to your midline. Now, it may taste really good going down, but that's what it means to be master of your appetites. You really have to develop the capacity to say no to some things. Not just to say no to some things, not just to say no to what is all too tempting but not good for us, but to say yes to those things that are aversive to us that we really should pitch in there and do, even though we don't want to. That's the mark of character, and we have to learn that so very young. And we have to get enough reinforcement for it that when we enter this gluttonous world of ours, this indulgent world of ours, that we've got the capacity to restrain ourselves. Otherwise, really, all hell breaks loose in our lives with regard to our health. And we also, unfortunately, live in a culture where if we mistreat ourselves and we allow ourselves basically to go to hell in a handbasket, we have a support network out there ready to catch us and to patch us up if they can. You know, if our arteries become too clogged, and they catch it in time, before we have that fatal heart attack, then we can get those closed arteries sometimes open with either balloon angioplasty or maybe a bypass or two, and then we're good as new. But wouldn't it be better not to get ourselves into such a fix in the first place? And that requires discipline. And it's so hard. It's so hard in our instant gratification age. We can have whatever we want cheaply and almost immediately, wherever we want. We're riding in our car, we can pull in to any one of a number of places, generally speaking, within 4 or 5 minutes, wherever we are, and load up on just all the wrong things. They will satisfy us for a moment. They will feel really good going down, and they will cause us all manner of problems. And that's just the age we live in. And so that's what I was writing about this past Friday on my manipulative-people.com blog. Maybe some of you have some thoughts on the subject. Maybe you have some thoughts on what it would take to turn things around in our gluttonous age. At any rate, if you want to give us a call, if you have something else on your mind, maybe just a question you want to ask or something you want to share, happy to have you call in at 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296. It's so good to be back live, and I've kind of missed doing the program. I've been doing a lot of traveling. I have a young son who is undergoing a major move right now. I live here in the Little Rock, Arkansas area and my oldest son and his family lives here as well, so we get to see my grandkids most of the time, at least a couple of times a week, and we get to see the family very frequently. And my young son was away at college, but not too far away, only about 30 minutes away for the last 4 years, and now he's 900 miles away up in Michigan. And although I do have family up there, I don't get up there as often as I'd like, and it's pretty difficult to have him be so far away now. So in one of my travels, after doing some workshops in the Chicago area, I flew into the Detroit area and helped my son Adam move and spent some time there before coming back to Arkansas. So I was not able to be live with the program since I think the 7th of August. And so it feels good to be back live and to be able to take your calls if you have a question or concern. And so if you want to give me a call, please do so at 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296. I mentioned something on the Lawrence O'Donnell program during the interview that probably didn't catch everybody's attention, but I meant what I said, I'm glad that I had the chance to say in front of a nationwide audience, larger than this radio audience, and probably larger than the audience that regularly tunes into my blog and whatnot. But I made the point about where our problems really lie. I said on the air that our biggest problems are not really our economic woes and our other social problems, but rather the character problem, because it's at the root of all the other problems. Anyone who doubts that only has to look at, I think we have a call coming in, so I'm going to try and take that. Well, I can't seem to get it. Huh. If somebody was trying to call, I would ask that they try to call in again, because I'm not sure what happened there. Somebody was trying to call at 718-717-8296. I hope they try again, because something didn't quite work right with the program. So if you'll try to call in again, we'll see what we can do about patching you through. If you want to join the conversation, that's 718-717-8296. I'll be happy to take your call if I can patch you in. We'll see what happens this next time. But something was going on, not quite right. I think somebody was trying to call in, and I couldn't patch you through. So we'll try again if you don't mind. What I was saying is that all of our problems really are related to the character issue. And anyone that doubts that would only have to look to the financial crisis that almost brought down our entire economy and required massive bailouts. Massive bailouts. And guess who pays for that, folks? We do. And the disaster was caused by a few really bad actors on Wall Street. I see we got some folks trying to call in again. And I'm not sure why I'm not being able to add the call. So I just don't understand it. I know that the phone system is supposed to be working, but it's not working right, and I'm not sure what the problem is. So we'll whoever it is that's trying to call in, if you keep trying, and at some point we can make a connection, we'll do our best to get you on the air. But I was making the point about the financial crisis and how a few bad actors of despicable character, some of these folks, no doubt in my mind, some of these folks are probably seriously character disturbed, maybe even psychopathic, maybe even sociopathic. And very few of them paid any real price for the greed, for the unrestrained greed and the chicanery, the dishonesty that characterized their behavior, that caused the financial meltdown. And this is the kind of thing that I've been saying all along, and that is that it's our program, it is our problems with character and character formation, and all of the ways in which we promote and reward and reinforce character disturbance in one way or another, that has led to so many of the other problems that we've had. And so when it all boils down to the bottom line, it's all about character. It always has been. And probably always will be, especially in a free society. So where we have to start is with our children. And we have to make it our business to instill in them those moral lessons that they have to learn and master in order to be of decent character. We have to make that matter again. We have to make that matter more than anything else. And it's not just with our children. It was the point I was trying to make on the O'Donnell Show. We have to make it matter in all aspects of our lives. I said on that program that I was happy about one thing, and that is we're having quite a national conversation these days that we haven't had in a long time about character. Because one party's behavior has been, well, actually, it's not true. I mean, there's a lot of nefarious stuff going on. There are many displays of bad character out there. It's not just one candidate. It's not just one candidate at all. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody cares to tell the truth. They lie to us, and they do it shamelessly. And they justify it. And yet, these are the people that we would have not only lead us, but lead the free world. These are the people that ask for our confidence. And we have to say, you know, it's about time that we put some people with a solid moral compass in the seats of power. And it's also important that in every aspect of our lives that we have people of good character. We have to make that count again. We have to make that a national objective, something that we care about. It used to matter a lot. It used to matter more than anything. It used to matter more than anything. And in many ways, it still does. I had my sister on the program some weeks ago. She worked in one of the largest companies in the country, Ford Motor Company, for several years. And she worked prior to that in some other major companies, several. MCI being one of them when it was big, and then some others. And she talked about, when she was on the program, she talked about how important really character is in the hiring process for any of the large companies, especially for positions of importance. She talked about the three C's, competence being one of them, but character being the most important. Because without that, even when you have some of the other things like competence and compatibility, even when you have those kinds of things, there's going to be trouble if you don't have the right character. And employers know that. Unfortunately, today, one of the things that happens is that many folks have gotten pretty good at the art of what we call impression management. That is, concealing their true nature, casting a good image, looking good, while not really revealing all of the problematic aspects of their true character. So companies and other individuals get deceived. This is what happens many times in relationships that are destined for failure. On the front end, one of the parties may be just completely bowled over by what seems the good nature of someone. And then it turns out, as I mentioned in my book, that they turn out to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. But on the front end, they're so good at the art of impression management. They're so skilled in the art of manipulation that you don't see who they are until it's too late. I say in the book that it's like getting whiplash. You don't really know the full extent of what's happened until after the damage is done. Anybody who's had whiplash in an accident, a car accident, knows exactly what I'm saying. Once again, we have a caller calling in, but I'm not sure what is going on with our phone system because I cannot patch it through. So I'm not going to be able to take the call. Just sorry that that's happening like that today. But it seems like somebody is trying to call in. Maybe it's another call. Maybe it's a call that is not. Maybe it's a call that's not really meant to be patched in. But somebody has been calling, and I have not been able to patch the call in. So we'll just have to. Ask the caller maybe to call in another time, maybe next week, because something is not quite right today. So at any rate, we've been talking about the importance of character. And this is what I've been writing about for years and will continue to write and speak about. And this is what I've been touring the country training professionals to deal with. You know, unfortunately, even though there are a wide variety of mental health disciplines out there providing therapeutic services to individuals, and you know, the days were not long ago when there were only a couple of professions that did this. There was only professional psychology and psychiatry that did this many years ago. But we have clinical social workers, we have marriage and family counselors, we have licensed professional counselors, we have nurse practitioners, we have a wide variety of individuals. We have people who specialize in substance abuse counseling. We have a wide variety of therapeutic services out there. Unfortunately, even with the wide variety of disciplines serving individuals who have either mental health or behavioral problems, despite the number of disciplines out there, very few folks in any of these disciplines are appropriately trained in the perspectives and the techniques that have any effect when it comes to dealing with character disturbance. Character disturbance is a very different animal, so to speak, than is what we have classically called neurosis. Neurosis being when somebody is basically making themselves sick, either with worry or with anxiety-related problems of some nature. Perhaps they are socially anxious, perhaps they are insecure, perhaps they are too afraid to venture out, perhaps they are lacking in self-confidence, and therefore hung up in that way. These kinds of problems folks are trained to deal with. But when it comes to a person's character, when it comes to a person's very way of looking at life and dealing with life and dealing with other people, and their pattern of behavior, their habitual pattern of behavior, many professionals, unfortunately, are just not all that well trained on how to deal with the problem. And for that reason, I started doing research, clinical case study research on this problem many years ago. And I also tried to illuminate folks, both professionals and laypersons, by writing my books, In Sheep's Clothing, Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People, Character Disturbance, The Phenomenon of Our Age, The Judas Syndrome, and How Did We End Up Here? And also my blog at manipulative-people.com. And also the other blog that I write for, counselingresource.com. That's counseling resource with 2 L's in counseling, www.counselingresource.com. The blog that URL belongs to is called Psychology, Philosophy, and Real Life. So I wanted to get the word out there that there's an entirely different perspective that needs to be taken when it comes to the problem of character disturbance. And now that I've gotten the word out there, I'm back again on the road as I was many years ago before health issues sidelined me. And I'm training professionals. Why? Because they're on the front lines of this problem, and unfortunately, all too many lack the grounding in the kinds of interventions and therapeutic tools that will help with the problem of character disturbance. I want people who are in toxic relationships or who are having difficulties that are character related, I want them to be able to get the help that they need when they seek out a professional resource. And a lot of people write me from time to time wondering if I have a referral roster that I can send them to somebody in their city who kind of gets it when it comes to character disturbance. And I always have to write them back and say that I don't. But I am now developing a network of providers who have attended the workshops, who have indicated to me that they would like referrals. And so as I get more and more of those individuals, even though I can't personally certify them, at least I will know that they are familiar with my work and they might be more inclined, more prepared, better prepared to give you the kind of help that you need. Well, it's been great to be back here live. I hope to be here again next week at the same time. With another edition of Character Matters. As we head out to the end of the show, once again, as the theme song plays, remember where our greatness lies. It's not in our military might or in our economic power, but in the character of our people. I'll see you again next week. I'm Dr. George Simon. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.